Zack. For the both of us. Both of us? That's right. You're gonna live. You'll be my living legacy.
Number 2. Oh, here it comes. It's actually really funny that Zack Fair is actually number 2 on a list of video game characters that have impacted my life, because I actually never played Crisis Core. I never had access to it. I only ever watched the cutscenes to the game, and I have a whole reaction watch through on my channel that we did a year or 2 ago. Yeah, no, it was 2 years ago. Holy crap. I don't even know how long ago it was. It was a while ago. But we watched through Crisis Core because I always wanted to know that story, and I always wanted to know Zack, right? And although I've never played Crisis Core, something about Zack Fair just inspires me. Zack Fair is my number 2 on this list because, well, for one thing, I mean, he's just one of the coolest people ever. I wish I could be friends with him in real life. Who doesn't want to be friends with this guy? He's just so cool. The biggest reason why he's number 2, it's not just, the honor and, embrace your dreams and all that. That's really great, and I think that's really awesome. And I think we could take a lot away from that. Embracing your dreams, protecting your honor. What kind of really made him so high on this list for me was his death. His death was incredibly emotional because, he gets gunned down by, Shinra, and Cloud is there, and Cloud is the last person to see Zack alive, and he crawls up to him, and Zack says to him, and I think this is so powerful, he says, "You'll be my living legacy." And that's exactly what happens. Cloud inherits the Buster Sword from Zack, and literally, Cloud is Zack's living legacy. What Zack has made me realize, above anything else that I do on this earth, above anything else, I want to leave a legacy. I want to leave a legacy so that when I die, I can look my future son or future daughter in the eye and say, "You are my living legacy." And that might look different for other, a lot of people, whether that's just having a family and raising your family right, or whether that's making an impact on the internet in content creation or something like that, or whatever it looks like. Leaving a legacy is one of the most important things that you can do on this earth. It doesn't even have to be a big picture thing. It doesn't have to be we all have this no, I don't want to say we all. I want to say a lot of us have this mindset of we want to change the world, which is great, and we always think big picture. I want to change the world. I want to go to conventions and speak at conventions. I want to go speak here. I want to make it big on this platform so I can influence just hundreds of thousands of people. I want to change the world, And we always think in the grand scope of things and big picture. But the reality is, if you want to change the world, change somebody else's world. People are what make up the world. And if you can impact that one person in your life for the better, and whatever it is, it could be a simple thing like buying them lunch, or, giving them you know, like helping them financially with something, you know, like that person can go on to impact other people, and it's this domino effect. And then in that way, by impacting one person, by leaving a legacy for like that one person, you are playing a part in changing the world, because you're changing somebody else's world. We all want to see what the picture looks like, but we don't want to take the time to put the puzzle pieces together. I'm all for changing the world, but I want to prioritize, you know, the smaller scale, right? The small picture, right? Changing somebody else's world. Again, whether that means making this video series for somebody to potentially see and be like, yo, like, you know, I want to list my top 10 favorite characters now, or like whatever it is, or whether it's me like going to going to church and praying for somebody, or even like whatever, like going in a parking lot and praying for somebody, you know, that's like happened before and it's amazing. I love it. Or like going and buying somebody lunch or whatever, you know, leaving a legacy is huge. And I do not want to take my life for granted. That's also like part of the reason why, you know, this year I made a video at the beginning of the year, but I kind of want to take it a little bit easier on content creation in terms of like streaming. I haven't really been streaming as much as I was, especially in this, like the tail end of last year. And it's because I want to prioritize and focus more on just like my friends IRL, you know, my friends here, and my job, and family, and just like all these things, because like that stuff matters to me. And like, and you guys, I mean, you guys mean so much to me. Like, don't think y'all don't matter to me. But I just, you know, I want to make sure that my focus is fully on, I don't want to say fully on one or the other, kind of like equal. I've learned throughout the years to just like, oh gosh, and I think I might have talked about this in the Neku one, but really just to like value people. Part of that was becoming a Christian, you know, like that actually happening and letting Jesus like change my life. What I'm trying to say is legacy is so important, and the decisions that you make now are going to affect some decisions that you might make in the future. I am somebody who, like, you know, I want to be married one day. I'm single right now, and I eventually want to get married, have a wife, have some kids. I don't want to make decisions now that's going to affect my relationship with my future wife in the future. I'm consciously making the decision today to not sleep with anybody that I'm not married to, which I'm you know, I want to be married to one person, right? And so I do that because I believe that legacy matters. And that's just one example, right? But, and that's just for me personally. Everyone's life looks different, but I want to make decisions now that are going to, I know that are going to have an effect on my future kids. Me consciously making decisions to draw out this living legacy, to expand this legacy that I'm hopefully doing the best job that I can with, right? It's led to like just this really amazing feeling of like, I love my wife and I don't even know her yet. You know, like I'm single. I'm not even seeing or dating anybody. But like, I love my wife and I don't even know her yet. Zack with Cloud, you know, again, it's different, right? But like, just him passing off that mantle of the Buster Sword to Cloud, and, you know, Cloud literally just like, you know, Angeal giving it to Zack, Zack giving it to Cloud. Dude, this dude was Soldier First Class, bro. Like, he was a big deal, man. And that's, you know, that is, if you are this dude's living legacy, that's a huge deal. I don't want to take advantage of the legacy that I've been given from my dad and, you know, who he was and, you know, how he's raised me. I want to leave a living legacy. That's like the one thing that's like so important to me on this earth. I want to leave a legacy. It's not to be like super famous or have a lot of money or have a lot of this, or even to be successful in life or in a job or in a whatever. That's not what I mean by leaving a legacy. What I'm talking about is I want people to know whenever I pass away, I want people to know like what I stood for and who I am and who I was as a person. That's why I love Zack so much, because he left a legacy. He left a living legacy in Cloud. And his death is so impactful. You know, not just in the whole series, but just overall. Just the lessons that you can learn from Zack, whether it's legacy or the price of freedom or embrace your dreams, protect your honor. There's so much you can learn from him. It's funny because that's what I think of when I think of Zack. The first thing I think of is embrace your dreams and protect your honor as a soldier. And it's like right there, you know that Zack did his job of leaving a great legacy, because that's who he was, that's what he stood for. In the face of opposition, when all these guns are pointing at him and everyone's against him, he did not give in. He stood his ground and he fought, and I admire that. You know, like, I'm not really somebody who likes to give in to the culture. I kind of like to be a little bit countercultural, and I think that's like something that like makes me me, you know. I'm not going to be like super radical or political about things, but like in terms of countercultural, like I want to like wait until marriage before like, you know, having sex, because I want to save that for my wife, right? And I know we got super personal, insanely personal, but again, if it makes you uncomfortable, you can leave, you can unsubscribe, I don't really care. I'm going to be an open book out here to an extent, not completely, right? But to an extent to where, I want to be honest and I want to be straightforward. And that's something that I want to be known as. I don't want to be just this guy who does, these streams and like does these first playthroughs and makes like some fun videos sometimes, or, just does like content on YouTube. Like, I want to be a man who, if somebody like comes into my stream and needs prayer, I want to pray for them right there, or like if somebody comes in and, I know this is like not really a thing that it's not really like polite etiquette, quote unquote. And most streamers don't like this, and I understand why. But like whenever people like trauma dump in like their chat and stuff, I actually want to be somebody who is going to be like, you know what, I'm going to listen to this person because like they might not have anyone else to listen to. And although that might take away from the game that I'm playing or whatever the heck's happening, and people might not want to like see that, it's going to mean the world to that person. Right? If you want to change your world, you're going to change somebody else's world. And I truly believe that. And again, you don't have to agree with everything I'm saying. I understand. Like, I do. But I want to leave that kind of legacy, man. I want to be a living legacy for my friends, my future kids, whatever. To you guys, I want to leave a legacy for you guys as well. That's like the one reason why I do this, is like, not the one, there's a lot of reasons why I love making content. But like, I really just want to relate to people and would love to like find people who are like, yeah, I can relate to that. And then be able to like talk to you guys, right, about this stuff, because this stuff matters. Like, playing a game is great and streaming is great and it's fun, but like, when it comes down to it at the end of the day, whenever we turn that go live button off, we're people at the end of the day. And, whenever you tune out of the stream, you're people. You go and you do your thing. You go to your job, you go to school, you go to bed, you go hang out with friends, you go to lunch, whatever, like, you're people. And so it's like those connections, that is so important. That's what means like the absolute world to me. It's funny because we didn't even really talk about Zack that much, like as a character, but this whole spiel, essentially, of what I'm getting at is basically the impact that Zack has had on me, and it has inspired me to want to leave a legacy like him. Zack could be friends with anybody. I truly believe it. I 100% believe it. And it's like, man, I want to be like that, man. Like, I want to be like that. There's so many. That's like a lot of these characters. That's actually probably most of these characters on this list. Like, it's like, man, I want to be like that. Zack Fair. One of my favorite characters of all time. And it's funny because I probably will love him more if I actually play Crisis Core. But like, that's just for me watching the cutscenes to Crisis Core. Like, and the fact that he's had that kind of impact on my life, it says a lot about who Zack is, right? Just stand-up kind of guy, honorable, can be friends with anybody, and at the end of the day will lay down his life for you. Zack's legacy in Final Fantasy VII, I would argue, has changed the scope of, like, you know, what happens post Crisis Core. There's a lot that leans on Cloud. There's a lot that is dependent on Cloud in Final Fantasy VII, and like Cloud literally would not be where he is if it wasn't for Zack, right? If it wasn't for Zack, you know, being his friend, or you know, just being there for him when he needed him, and like being kind of like that big bro to him, Cloud would be in such a different place if he didn't have Zack. Final Fantasy VII, actually, I don't even know if that would even be, it would be such a different story. Like, Sephiroth would win if it wasn't for the impact that Zack had on Cloud. You know, it's like, I mean, that might be reaching quite a bit, but it's like, it's just like, you got to really think about this stuff. Like, the impact that Zack had on Cloud is like, it's crazy. To think that, like, wow, like Cloud would not be where he is. A lot of events would not even have happened. And there's so many other characters in Final Fantasy VII that play such a huge part in the story. It's not just Cloud and Zack. Cloud being Zack's living legacy just feels right. And I want to leave a legacy like Zack, whether it's after I pass away or whether it's after I'm done making content, because I don't think I'm going to do this forever. Whether it's after I'm done working a job and then, like, you know, I end up leaving that job, like leaving some kind of legacy. Like, everything you do, you're leaving a footprint somewhere. Like, you are leaving a legacy whether you realize it or not, and it's completely up to you what kind of legacy you leave. Zack has not just left a living legacy for Cloud, in Cloud, but he's also left a living legacy for me. You know, he's inspired me, right? He's impacted my life so much to the fact that he is literally on the list of characters that have impacted my life the most. He is above some of my favorite characters of all time, which is pretty crazy, because Zack, it really is amazing. And you know, if you haven't played Final Fantasy VII or any of the 7 compilation, please do, because it's incredible. If anything resonated with you in this video, man, that's awesome. And if not, I totally understand, because we talked about it a lot. But Zack Fair is number 2. He's number 2 on this list. There's one more that we will get to in the next video. Yeah, Zack Fair, living legacy, living legend.